All right, here we are. Empty cat trees and all that. So yeah, the cat trees are there. They're just empty right now. So the news of the day, I've got some entertainment in here, and I've got some sports on there as well, because sports, and nothing yet from the NBA, but sports. And when it happens, I'll likely report it here. So Major League Baseball, because sports. If Major League Baseball, I have more doubts with Major League Baseball than I do with the others. But one thing I don't have any doubt with is that there's going to continue to be debate until we see the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League, and all of the cast have talked about how they want to see it and it's going to be great. The problem is when you've got actors saying, "Oh yeah, release that, it's going to be great." Yeah, they always go out on these press tours as well, tell you how great a movie is, and then after it sucks, they go, "Yeah, fine." So yeah, and so I'm highly suspicious of people who are in these movies of saying, "Oh, I know, they need to release that version because that one will be better." The Zack Snyder movies, Batman v Superman wasn't very good. Man of Steel, not very good. And that's my honest opinion. And the Zack Snyder universe, the DC universe, just so dark. And Marvel made a ton of money, and they seem to find a good balance between the drama and the sense of humor. So Justice League, they decided, we need to have more sense of humor, and whoops. And then there have been some great ones, like Shazam was fantastic. Shazam's a great movie. Wonder Woman is excellent, and Aquaman is okay. It's not great, and honestly, I mean that. It's not fantastic. But now we see a budget of $20 million being given to the Snyder cut of Justice League for release next year, and we'll see how it does. We'll see if people like it a whole lot better. And the problem is it's being built up so highly now that it's not going to live up to expectations. It's not. So the expectation that, hey, this movie really sucked, and the Justice League movie that's out there, the Joss Whedon cut, I have not been able to sit through all of it at once. I've watched parts of it, like 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there. I'm like, all right, that's enough of that crap, and I go find something else to watch, because it's not very good. It's not compelling. The characters it's all kind of bland. And I don't know how much of that is Snyder, how much of that is Whedon. People talk about how tonally it changes because you have two different films basically smashed into one. To me, it's not just the tone changes, just the movie itself. I'm not all that interested. The villain, I'm not really all that interested. So, yeah, we'll see how it does. However, on the good movie news, Christopher Nolan's Tenet looks fantastic. Now, I've seen the trailer. The trailer probably gives too much away. Gonna be honest, the trailer probably gives too much away, but that may very well be because of what we're currently going through with all the shutdowns, and they want to, make sure that there's interest in this movie, so maybe they give more information. So Tenet is a Christopher Nolan movie, which is going to look at reversing time and distance past kind of stuff, or going through the distance into the past, like recent past. It's going to be interesting. I do think Tenet's going to be interesting, and looking at who's in the cast, I am excited about it. Now, Robert Pattinson's in it. Of course, he was in Twilight. You know what? Pattinson's a good actor. Twilight movies were just terrible, and he admitted after they were done, he thought they were terrible. He made fun of them at presser events talking about them. He did. And you can't really blame him for that, because Twilight movies are pretty bad. But Tenet looks fantastic. I'm anxious to see what Christopher Nolan puts together when it comes to the idea of traveling back in time. I think that the funny thing for me with the Christopher Nolan idea is I really like his movies, except the Batman ones. I don't know. Dark Knight is okay. It's not necessarily the greatest movie in the world in my eyes. I think it received a lot of praise because Heath Ledger passed on, and I think that heaped a lot more attention on it. It's a good movie. I don't think it's fantastic, but again, I know there are other people who disagree with me on that, and that's fine. Now, Star Trek's doing it again. So there's a Pike and Spock spin-off called Strange New Worlds, and they're like, all right, so Discovery, remember when we brought up Discovery and we were talking about it was going to be a throwback to the old style, and going to distance, travel between worlds, and it's going to be back to, not the ultra-violent sweary thing. And then we ended up doing the ultra-violent sweary thing, and it was like a soap opera. Okay, so now we got Strange New Worlds, and we won't do it. So now we got a Christopher Pike series, and Spock and his Pike, and it's going to be great. Sure. Picard was going to be great too. Picard was going to be this great character arc and this great character building, and it's gonna delve into the reasons for why these characters are nope. We're gonna have all these explanations for nope. So because of the fact that the Star Trek series so far have been giant no's, I have absolutely no faith that Strange New Worlds is going to be anything more than more shoot 'em up, blow 'em up. I expect every episode's going to be, hey, look, it's a Strange New World that ends with, all right, set phasers to kill. By all means, get your photon torpedoes, aim them directly at the capital of this planet, and then we're out of here. The prime directive is going to be light everything on fire. That's going to be the prime directive. I come in peace. Our prime directive is light everything on fire. Everything is now on fire. We are free to go. So, do they even care about the prime directive anymore? Like, is it even a thing? I mean, it's mentioned in the movies, but does it matter? Does it really matter? It always felt like Kirk was breaking the prime directive, but at least then it felt like it was a rule that mattered. Anyways, prime directive states, and then by the end, screw the prime directive, I don't care. Now it's been 3 years since the Dark Universe picture was tweeted out, and I'm not sure what Universal was thinking with the Dark Universe idea, which was that you're going to have the Mummy and the Invisible Man and all of these classic villains, monsters like your Mummy and Wolfman and Frankenstein, and you're going to bring it all back. And then the Mummy lost a ton of money, with Tom Cruise being as hammy as Tom Cruise can be. And that one's awful too. I haven't been able to get through that one either. Tried. It's so bad. And so the whole Dark Universe thing kind of got scrapped. Now, we've seen an Invisible Man movie come out since then, but that Invisible Man movie is not part of the Dark Universe as far as I know. I mean, every now and then you'll hear like, oh, they're going to bring back Dark Universe. But it is interesting to look back at what they were going to do. And originally Johnny Depp was going to be the Invisible Man. And as soon as I heard that, I went, they're going to ham it up. That's a terrible idea. And I'm a Johnny Depp fan in some of his stuff, but he's in almost every movie now. He's almost like a caricature of a character. Like it doesn't. None of them feel like real people anymore. So I don't know. I don't know that he can get back to playing just a normal, dramatic, down to earth role anymore. We've certainly seen him be able to do it before. But like Donnie Brasco comes to mind. It's a good movie. But I don't know. I don't know that he can get back to that. And so 3 years since the Dark Universe was revealed, and we're still at just the Mummy. Technically. Although Invisible Man's supposed to be good. I haven't seen it yet. It's supposed to be excellent. Now, Jurassic Park Dominion brings about... This is what drives me nuts. So, Jurassic Park Dominion's on its way. And there are people saying, why? Why are we doing like mankind learning to deal with dinosaurs when there was like a handful of them, you just round them up and get rid of them? And that's how it's not like they're bees or something. Like they're an insect, something like that, right? They're giant dinosaurs. You just take them out. You round them up, you take them out. And if you can't round them up, you shoot them. Let's be realistic. Dinosaurs taking over the earth when you've only got a handful of them? No. But they're going to do this Dominion thing. And all I can think of is the Predator movie where it's on Earth and they're against the Predator versus Aliens. That was, you guys know what I'm talking about. The really, really bad one. I haven't been able to get through that one either. And this idea that maybe they're going to start a new series of movies with this one. Oh man, why? Just why? I don't understand. Poor Bryce Dallas Howard. I mean, not poor as in monetarily. She's making good money off this, but that woman can act, and she's being thrust into this. Look at that. I even put an extra R in there. There's no 2 R's in Jurassic, so I apologize for that. I do know better, but I'm going to go ahead and do a different color for spelling it the right way, and even a marker that's kind of sort of dying. Because, yeah, it's 1R, not 2. Ugh, anyways. Can't believe that. But why? I don't understand. And then the dumbing down of it where people are like, well, you can't expect it to be like the Spielberg ones. It's just a good monster movie now. Okay, knock it off. You're basically telling Hollywood, hey, so you've dumbed it down and you've made it so they're not as good. But that's fine, we'll go see it anyways. Which just encourages more of them. Anyways. On more upsetting news, it would appear that Deadpool 3 is not happening anytime soon, in that Ryan Reynolds doesn't know when it's going to happen, and it's not on the Marvel schedule for the next 5 years. Here's the thing for me. I don't think Deadpool really fits with the whole plot, but does it have to? Like, you could have a Deadpool movie just exist on its own. Just have Deadpool exist on its own. Yes, you've got certain members of X-Men and they're starting up X-Force and all that, but it doesn't have to be part of this cinematic universe, does it? It hasn't been to date, so why would it have to be now? So when I hear it's not on the calendar, I don't think that should necessarily mean we don't get the movie, just because it's not in the calendar of all the others. Since it's been external and it's been fantastic, Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2, I've watched them many times over now. And they're fantastic. 2 of my favorite movies, and I think they're hilarious. And so I'm not sure I understand the need to have it on the Marvel calendar, because again, he's not going to be an Avenger. He's not going to be. I mean, you could put him into a Spider-Man movie or vice versa. You could have Spider-Man in a Deadpool, and that could be a fun little cross promotion kind of thing. But Deadpool doesn't fit. And I don't think they should try to make him fit. And I don't think he should be on the Marvel calendar. I think he should have his own. I think you should have... I'll go a step further. I don't think X-Men should necessarily be on that calendar either. I understand the need to throw X-Men into the Marvel universe and have X-Men be a part of... But I think having them all crossing with one another, I think, as fun as it is, I think it's getting ridiculous. And so there can be a little bit of X-Men crossover, but when it comes to making an X-Men movie, it shouldn't be based on what other movies are being made at the time. I think it's too expansive, and it's too complicated for something that should really be simple. So now into the sports side of it. So that's why I wrote it in black, because it's the sports side of it. Vince McMahon, apparently after declaring bankruptcy and that the XFL was dead and they refunded tickets, now rumor has it he's going to buy the league out of bankruptcy that he declared, and if he buys it out of bankruptcy, he may not have to pay the $50 million in debts that he owed when he bankrupted the league. This is some next level chicanery here. And I'm not saying it's not legal. Sure, absolutely, yeah, legal. But does this mean we get the XFL back? Or does this just mean Vince is saying, yeah, no, it's dead and buried, but I don't want to pay the $50 million debt, so I'm going to go ahead and bankrupt, and then I'm going to buy it again? What does that do? I don't get it. The whole XFL thing, at the very beginning, the XFL, the odds that it was going to work, they were against the XFL succeeding, against Vince McMahon. But this is just, it's bizarre. It's really, really weird. And then also on Vince McMahon news, apparently he's not a fan of Shayna Baszler. I'm going to say I understand. I get it. Shayna Baszler is one of the best wrestlers they've got. And in NXT, she is a legit over heel who had that title for a long time. But in a league like WWE, where it's sports entertainment, so the fact that Shayna could legit beat up everybody else isn't a big deal. It's not. It's not a big deal. It is very much a looks-driven company. I think you need to look no further than Deonna Purrazzo. Deonna Purrazzo is a good wrestler. Now, is she kind of bland? Could she use some work on her character? Sure. But the Virtuosa, I think you could make that work. I think you could make that work, and I think it could be good. Deonna hits the ring on Raw, and everybody's talking about how fat she looked. And yet, if you look at her, and if you look at her in just social media posts, you just look at her every day dressed when she's out and about, she's not heavy, but because because of the fact that she's a woman in a man's ring, there is an expectation. And I thought it was weird because I thought, she's not fat. But immediately the internet was like, oh, look at this. Look at this. And I thought that was really bizarre. And then she gets let go. Now, Shayna Baszler, not fat, but by WWE's traditional standards, she doesn't have the look of a Mandy Rose. She doesn't have the look of an Alexa Bliss or a Sasha Banks or Bayley even. Like Bayley's a good wrestler, great character, playing the heel perfectly right now. She's a pretty girl. And Baszler, he may be looking at and saying, she can be the heel, but she's just not attractive enough. So that may very well be part of it. And he is saying he doesn't see her as being an over heel. And I wonder if that's part of it. I haven't seen that talked about anywhere else, but I do wonder if that's part of it. I think Baszler, as champ, I think she'd be legit. I think with Becky stepping out, I think you could have a great feud between Asuka and Baszler because we've seen it. We saw it in NXT. And I think that once the day comes that we are looking at them as women, not as girls, as we look at them as based on their merits and their wrestling ability more than looks, I think you're in good shape. But I think it's weird that a company that would look at Deonna Purrazzo and go, well, she's not in really good shape, and she's kind of a little heavy. And then Otis is the most pushed male. I think the Otis Mandy Rose pairing up this storyline, I think it just shows there is a double standard that's there. Because you look at it and you say Otis is with Mandy, and isn't that a nice sweet story? And yet if you had a heavier woman who is involved with an attractive young man, it would be played for laughs. Be played for laughs and like this guy's actually going to be interested in her. This is such a joke. And they may end up there with Mandy, but they're not there yet. And they're portraying it as being, this could work, this could happen. And yep, gosh, that's great for all of us. And I think there's something more to it than just Baszler not being over with Vince McMahon. Now, on racing news, Denny Hamlin won the rain-shortened race the other night. That was awkward. And this is part of the thing with racing, right? Where you're like, all right, everything's going well. And so far through 2 races, things have gone really, really well with NASCAR. It has. This has gone very well, and they have to be overjoyed with how well it's gone. There hasn't been any major injuries on the track. There haven't been any positive cases I've read about off the track. So, the rain-shortened win was one of those, you can't control the weather. And they were talking about it the whole race, like maybe it's going to hold off. The part that I thought was funny was when the announcers, and they're showing the radar, and you could clearly see there's a massive amount of rain coming in. They're like, we don't see it yet. Maybe it's going to miss us. Maybe it won't be that bad. And then just the skies opened up, and Hamlin was given the win in what was a rain-shortened race. But again, it was important for NASCAR to show it can be done, and to go out there. And it was a good race. All of the stops and starts are odd. I get why they're there, but it makes it odd. Clint Boyer had a great run, and I kind of felt bad for Clint Boyer on the third leg when it just fell apart for him. Because I thought Boyer through legs 1 and 2, he raced perfect, especially that second leg of the race, and then the third one, and then he falls off. Hamlin ends up taking the win in that one. Indy Racing is supposed to return on June 6th, but the full schedule's on July 4th, so there's a nighttime race. That'll take place on June 6th, and then the full schedule is supposed to return on July 4th, and the Indy 500, I believe, is mid to late August. So here's to hoping for that, and I will definitely be watching that. I'm enjoying watching NASCAR, I have to be honest. Now, normally, of course, I'd be watching hockey, so NASCAR, I don't have time to watch it, but I do enjoy watching NASCAR. I always have. And I know people look at it like, well, it's just cars turning left. No, I pay attention to who's taking tires when. And you saw that in this race where somebody decided, I'm going to take a chance on staying out on the green and everybody else can get tires. I'm going to wait and see if there's a caution. And then as soon as everybody else gets tires, he's dropping 2.5, 3 seconds every lap. It's just, I love the chess match that takes place with it. And I love to see the fuel top-ups and the plans on weight and the distance and figuring all that out. And then as soon as a caution comes out and figure out who's going to come in when and all of that, I really find that enjoyable. So yes, you could look and say, well, they're just turning left on an oval track. But I see more than that. I honestly, I see the chess match that goes on out there, and when to pass and where is just, it's fantastic. So I enjoy all of that. But thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. We're done for now. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for all your support during everything that's going on. And hey, be safe, and I'll talk to you again soon.